Trump tells supporters they won't have to vote in the future, it'll be fixed.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Group Turning Point Action. You know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore. My beautiful Christians, he said, with a slight shake of his head and his right hand pressed against the left side of his chest. He added, I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good, you're not going to have to vote. Trump's remarks, delivered not far from his Mar-a-Lago resort and home, were immediately met with consternation in some political quarters. The constitutional and civil rights attorney Andrew Seidel, for instance, replied to video of Trump's comments circulating on X by writing, This is not subtle Christian nationalism. He's talking about ending our democracy and installing a Christian nation.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Actor Morgan Fairchild added in a separate X post, but what if I want to vote again? I was always raised that we get to vote again. That is America. And NBC legal commentator Katie Fang said, in other words, Trump won't ever leave the White House if he gets reelected. Trump's comments on Friday came months after he remarked that he would be a dictator on day one if given a second 4-year term in the White House. He has repeatedly made known his admiration for authoritarian leaders, including Russia's Vladimir Putin, Hungary's Viktor Orban, and North Korea's Kim Jong Un. And a former White House aide reported that Trump once said Adolf Hitler, whose Nazi regime murdered 6 million Jews during the Holocaust amid the Second World War, did some good things. Meanwhile, the Conservative Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 has detailed plans to aim retribution at Trump's actual and perceived enemies, whether politicians or bureaucrats, should he be reelected. Experts on authoritarianism warn the public to take Trump seriously when he speaks in that manner. And before Joe Biden halted his reelection campaign on July 21st and endorsed Kamala Harris to succeed him in the Oval Office, the Democratic president repeatedly sought to portray Trump as an existential threat to American democracy. Trump's supporters have tried to blame that rhetoric for the failed July 13th assassination attempt that targeted the former president at a political rally in Pennsylvania. The FBI said on Friday that a bullet, whether whole or fragmented, hit Trump in one of his ears during that day's shooting, which also killed a rally goer and wounded 2 other spectators before a Secret Service sniper shot the gunman to death. Yet many pointed out how Trump's remarks on Friday seemed to be an indication that the Republican nominee for president had no plans to stop making explicit threats against Democratic norms, including elections themselves. Oh, Trump just canceled the 2028 election, liberal political commentator Keith Olbermann wrote on X in a post containing a video clip of the ex president's remarks on Friday. Katie Payette, the communications director for Democratic U.S. Senator Martin Heinrich of New Mexico, added in a separate X post, when we say Trump is a threat to democracy, this is exactly what we're talking about. However, not everyone is turned off by the rhetoric to which Trump resorted on Friday. An Ipsos poll published in June and commissioned by the Earth for All nonprofit and the Global Commons Alliance found that 41% of Americans believe having a strong leader who does not have to bother with parliament and elections is a very good or fairly good way to govern. Higher earners in particular showed support for that sentiment, according to the poll, said Owen Gaffney, co leader of Earth for All. Trump easily clinched the Republican nomination for November's election despite having been convicted in May of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the New York State prosecution involving $130,000 paid to adult film actor Stormy Daniels after she alleged an extramarital sexual encounter with him. He has also been grappling with charges of illicitly trying to reverse the outcome of the 2020 election that he lost to Biden. Efforts that were buoyed on July 1st when a U.S. Supreme Court with 3 Trump appointees ruled that he enjoys immunity from being prosecuted for any acts deemed official. And among other legal issues, he has faced multi-million dollar civil penalties for fraud and a rape allegation that a judge determined to be substantially true. Even if Trump wins a second White House term in November, the 22nd Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which was enacted in 1951, would prevent him from serving as president beyond early 2029. Simply proposing to change that amendment will require approval from 2/3 of both congressional chambers. Then, 3/4 of the U.S. states would need to approve the change. Republican lawmakers, for now, have a narrow majority in the U.S. House. The Democrat opponents have a slim majority in the Senate. A poll released on Friday by the Republican friendly Fox News Network showed Trump in a tight race with Harris, the U.S. vice president, in key swing states that could decide November's election. Before Biden's withdrawal from the presidential election, polls generally showed Trump had built relatively comfortable leads in a number of key swing states. What I need people to understand is that this is not business as usual. This is not a drill. All of this is connected to Project 2025 and what we are doing if we do not listen and hear Trump and believe what he is saying. We will slow walk ourselves into authoritarianism. It is not hyperbole. It is not putting 20 on 2. This is what is going to happen. And even this article does not seem to grasp the seriousness of the situation. If he is elected again, there will be no Congress. They will just have to do whatever he wants. He will get any laws that he wants. He will have all people who only want to do his bidding. Do not ignore this. If you are thinking that this is a game, go look up basic elements of Project 2025 and you will see that he is not playing. He plans to go hard and he plans to get rid of freedom as we know it.
The reason that they are apoplectic right now, the reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
So the RNC convention was this week, and it was as bizarre as expected. However, for all of the nonsense that happened, one thing they did not dare talk about was Project 2025. But today, we're going to talk about it. Project 2025, Mandate for Leadership, The Conservative Promise, forward by Kevin Roberts, PhD. He is the president of the Heritage Foundation that helped to write this document. That is the man in the video at the beginning.